Our next discussion lies on using what are called as logical functions. And if some of us are from a mathematics or engineering background, we would probably realize the importance of functions such as and, or, and not, right? In science, we were taught that these were some of the logical gates that are used in microprocessors. Regardless, even if we are not from that background, it doesn't matter. All we are looking at is three functions which are called as and, or, and not. As the name suggests, and looks for a scenario where two or more conditions are satisfied simultaneously at the same time. So all conditions need to get satisfied, right? Or is looking at a scenario where any one of the conditions is getting satisfied, right? So you're looking at any one or more are getting satisfied, right? Not is the exact opposite. Essentially, you're looking at negation of the value when you use not, right? So let's look at this data. We have a few employees given here who were hired at a certain point of time. As of today, their age in the organization is this much. Their working status is in terms of half-time, full-time, contract, hourly, etc. And their job rating on a scale of 5 is this much. Let's say we want to find out all employees that have been in the system for more than 24 years and who have a rating of more than 3, right? So, or we could change it down to more than 21 years and a rating of 3, right? So people who have been in the system for more than 21 years and a rating of better than 3 is what we are looking at, right? So we want both the conditions to get satisfied. The way it works is we use a function called and. Both the conditions getting satisfied is why we are using this function called and you can add as many arguments to this as possible. The first logical argument is whether the number of years is greater than 22. So this is greater than 21 is what we said, right? And the second logical argument was if the job rating was greater than 3. Remember, greater than 3, not equals to or greater than 3. So greater than 3 is what we are looking at, and I click OK, it says false for the first one. Why? Is because while this is greater than 21, so that's a tick here, this is not greater than 3, it's equal to 3, right? So logically, you see, where do you see two ticks? That's here, and that's here and here. Other than that, all of the others we should get as false, right? So that's the idea, that this condition should satisfy, and we get a scenario which says only the ones where we see both the ticks as right, both the signs as a tick, is where we get the true value. Now that's where both the conditions get satisfied. So you could add multiple conditions and say what's the status. You could also put in another condition saying if the status is full time or half times, right? So you could put in another condition here saying that this is equal to, or you could just say, you know, as, let's say we want to add another condition here. We want to, let's say that the employee needs to be full time as well. So this is equals to full time, right? And you press enter, this stays true. But when I copy and paste it here, sorry, when I copy and paste it here, this changes to false because no longer is this employee a full-time employee, right? So effectively, I can check for multiple conditions, and only when all of them get satisfied in one go is where the AND function will throw an argument that is true, right? So that's how AND works. Let's say we want to find out OR. So we want to find out how many have been in the system for more than 21 years or have a rating of more than 3. So we use a function called OR. Similar arguments here as well. You just have to put in this greater than 21 and this greater than 3. and click OK. You see the first one gives a true now because any of the condition is what we are looking at. I'll actually revert to the two condition scenario here as well. And you find that you find two extra trues now is because any of the condition becomes true here. In this case, the job rating is 5, while in the first case, the number of years is 21. The only places where you find false are A and B. Both of these are false, right? The negation of AND is considering the scenario where none of the conditions are true. Essentially, all you need to do is find out a not and look at this. You put a not there and it gives you an opposite value. And similarly, you could do that for OR, drag it down. You find that when you put a not value outside the bracket, it effectively goes ahead and negates what output came out of the AND argument and function output, right? Now, this itself again may not be very, very relevant right away. We might want to extend this analysis a little bit further, saying that what do we do if the condition gets satisfied, right? So let's say we're going to check for bonus eligibility of people. These guys could get a bonus depending on how long they have been in the system, or they could get a bonus based on their job rating or a combination of the two. So let's click and understand what is called as the if function. Now this is a very, very important function where you're trying to test for a condition, right? If you test the condition and the argument goes like this, you have to give a value if true, what you're testing for, and a value if false, right? That's what you're testing for. So let's say we test for the condition that years is greater than 21. So we have to say whatever is the cell greater than 21. Value if true could be, let's say, eligible for bonus, and value if false could be not eligible for bonus, right? That could be put in. Remember, this is a text string, so you have to put in inverted commas, right? That's how an if function works, and it's important because it starts giving you data that has an output attached to it, right? So let's try this bonus eligibility one condition. One condition that we are looking at is, let's say, if the number of years worked are greater than 21, right? So I put in an argument if, function if, and sorry, so let's put is equals to if, and we press on the function logical test. What is the logical test? Logical test is that this number is greater than 21. That's a true. Value if true, we say eligible for bonus. Value if false, we say not eligible for bonus, right? And I press enter and we find that the first guy is eligible for a bonus. When I drag it down, I realize that some of them are not eligible for a bonus. That's because this guy has only been in the system for 21 years, 18 years, 21 years, 19 years. Anyone who's been more than 21 years is eligible for the bonus. That's what the if condition throws out. So look at it again. If logical test, whatever is the logical test, that's here. Value if true. You're looking at the value if true. If the logical test that comes out of it is true, you put the value as true, and then value if false. If the test is not true, which is C5 is less than 21 or less than 22, then what is the value it's going to take? So based on that, it basically checks and puts in the numbers. Now let's say we put in two conditions. We say that this needs to be greater than 21 and this needs to be greater than 3. Only then will they be eligible for the bonus. Now remember, this needs to get packaged in an and also throws out a true or false. So effectively, what's going to happen is we're going to bucket it into two parts. What are those two parts going to be? So first, we're going to test for this condition, which is if whatever is the test condition, and then value if true and value if false. That's what the if shows, right? Now this one, remember, is a multiple condition, which is going to be and is the experience greater than 21 and is the rating greater than 3. And remember, this throws out either a true or a false. So it works as an argument in the if function. So within the if function, we're going to use another logical function, which is the AND function. Let's see how does this work. So we say if, and pay attention to this. Within this, the logical test is, and I can open the test, so that'll become easier, and bracket opens, this is greater than 21, comma, this is greater than 3, right? And I close bracket. That's my AND condition, right? C5 is greater than 21 and E5 is greater than 3. Value if true is eligible for bonus, and value if false is not eligible for bonus, right? And we click OK, and we find this guy is not eligible for bonus because now the rating is not more than 3, and I can drag this down and automatically it starts throwing out the results. We see who's eligible for bonus. Anirban Bose is eligible for bonus. Daniel White is eligible for bonus. Jennifer Orr is eligible for bonus, right? So these are the guys who are eligible for bonus, and that's where this data comes from essentially, right? So that's the key to kind of looking at finding the bonus eligibility with two conditions in. So you have used couple of functions now. The if function is the outer function and the AND function comes in between, right? Now this if is a very powerful function because you can practically assign numbers based on it. You can practically do a lot of analysis based on this, and this is going to keep coming back again and again with us. In a lot of our work that we do, the if function is going to come back. So be sure that you kind of practice it enough. That's the if function for us.